and early afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. At this time, I'd like to call up Calvin Mackey, please come up.
Flash in the land, flash in the sky, flash in the hearts of the people. One of the greatest things that we can possess is knowledge. The work of our ancestors are true. Land is permanent, but people disappear. Let us gather together and not fall apart. To the land, we greet you. To the people of this land, First Nations, I greet you. To the voices of the world that are in this room, greetings to all of you. To the many affiliations of this community, of the wider family, and to the nations in this room, greetings to you. Who have arrived on this time, on this day, to support Pearson, that's why we are here. Greetings to you, everyone.
This time I'd like to call up Desiree McGraw.
Thank you so much, Calvin, for getting us started on right. Calvin is one of our 160 students here at Pearson College from 90 different countries, and we will graduate very shortly. Our students are very much in an exam period and studying very intensely, but very happy to see that many of you have taken a break from your studies to come join us for this very special day. Welcome to all of you. Welcome to our first ever on-campus ceremony to mark the signing of the Douglas Treaties more than 7 generations ago. Today, we recognize and acknowledge that we welcome you to Pearson College, which is on the traditional territory of Chianu, Future A First Nation. I want in particular to, on behalf of the Board of Directors of the Pearson College, including our chairman, Tony McCown, sort of our elder, if you will. Unfortunately, he has a bad case of sciatica and cannot join us today. And I also very much want to acknowledge the very hard work of both Deanne Cuthbert and Sharon Cooper in really orchestrating and collaborating very well together to put this whole day together. So thank you so much for all of your hard work. I think it's a real sign of the collaboration between our respective communities. So thank you so much. So I do want to acknowledge in particular some of the individuals with us today. Of course, first and foremost, I want to acknowledge that we have and welcome with us Chief Councilor of the Chiano First Nation, Chief Russ Chips. I want to acknowledge council, elders, young people, and all community members from the Chiano First Nation. Thank you so much for being here. I also want to acknowledge our very special guest speaker today, Neil Valens, who's a researcher from the University of Victoria doing his PhD, which is focused on analyzing the history of the Douglas Treaties, so we very much look forward to your talk. We also want to acknowledge Jack Planis from the Sioux First Nation with us here today. Thank you so much for being with us. And of course, members of the Pearson College community, including of course, students from every part of Canada and 90 other countries from around the world, our faculty members, our staff, volunteers, campus residents, and house parents, our local alumni. We have 4,000 alumni around the world, some of whom are with us today, our supporters, and of course, some of our board members as well. And of course, our guests and fellow neighbors from the Chosen, West Shore, and Victoria area communities. Thank you for being with us today. I think all of us in this room recognize the importance of the history and long-term impact specific events have had on individuals, communities, and peoples. Today, we mark with you the Douglas Treaties and the impact of the purchase of land, which was and is, of course, the traditional home of the Chiano and allied First Nations. We do so because the signing of these treaties between 1950 and 1954 helped shape the way in which First Peoples of what we now call Southern Vancouver Island were treated and interacted with the settler population. No one would suggest that these treaties, for all the weight of history that they represent, were just. The 14 purchase agreements for a modest sum effectively extinguished Aboriginal title, as European-based law defined it, to all but quote existing villages and fields, while allowing traditional fisheries and hunting rights to continue. And we at Pearson College acknowledge the injustice of this reality. Furthermore, we, like every other institutional education in Canada, acknowledge that our school sits upon the traditional territory of the original peoples of this continent. In acknowledging these facts, I first of all want to thank all of you for allowing us to use this land to invite young people from around the world to experience the majesty and the beauty of this place and how to live in peace and harmony, not only with ourselves and our colleagues, but also, of course, with the natural environment. Secondly, I want to note that this day is another moment in history, a modest moment perhaps, but an important one. Today, we ask for your advice and your guidance in helping us to fulfill our sincere wish as we reestablish, and grow a respectful and honest relationship as neighbors here on the inlet known as Penner Bay. I also want to reach out to your community, especially your young people and their families. We at Pearson pride ourselves on our diversity, but we want more young people, young change makers from Indigenous communities across country, including right here, to be part of this diversity. I would like to invite the community to encourage young people from the Chiano First Nation to apply to Pearson College, and we have set aside some scholarships for this purpose, including to our summer leadership program. So please tell your friends, your sisters, your brothers, your cousins up and down this west coast of the continent and across the province that we collectively inhabit, that the doors of Pearson College are open and welcoming to young leaders of First Nations and peoples. I first came to Pearson College when I was about the age of many of our students here. This was back in the late 80s. But I still consider myself a newcomer to this area, and one who is humbly and respectfully learning about our relationship with the peoples and the land of this territory. Coming from Quebec, by the way, so the other side of the country. When I arrived here at the college, for the first time officially as the new head of college, that was last August, just 9 months ago, I reflected on this, and after speaking with many who have been with the school and have lived in the community for years, I asked our campus to take on a challenge. And so in my very first speech, if you will, my inaugural speech at the opening assembly last August, the opening assembly of the school year, I issued a challenge to the Pearson community, so both the on-campus community, the students, staff, faculty, volunteers who live, work, and reside here, but also to our entire community of 4,000 alumni across the globe and our board. And the challenge was to consider how we best as educators and global citizens can support reconciliation in the wake of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission report. Reconciliation, of course, means many things, and we have some ideas and initiatives already underway, but we humbly ask for your guidance and your wisdom in moving forward. We take the findings of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission seriously, and we are working to implement their recommendations for educational institutions, in particular to begin teaching about residential schools, treaties, and contributions of First Nations to Canada. We're making some progress. Already we've heard from a number of potential students from Canadian Indigenous communities who are embarking on the application process. And I'm personally thrilled by this, but we seek more applicants from Indigenous communities across Canada, starting here in this community. We welcomed a number of advisors with Indigenous and in many cases Pearson College roots, including our very own alum, Quint Cusio, an alum from year 14 or 15, I believe, anyway, in the 1980s, who has very generously agreed to volunteer his time for a couple of months here to advise us on our education around Indigenous issues and curriculum. Of course, we have with us a former faculty member, Stella Spack, Dominique Bouvet, who's an alum and a lawyer working with First Nations. All of these individuals are guiding us in coordinating our reconciliation, recruitment, and community outreach efforts. Soon, and we just posted it this week, we're going to add an Indigenous educator, advisor, and coordinator of reconciliation programming to our full-time staff. Together, we hope to build an international baccalaureate Indigenous cultural awareness curriculum, and we hope that this will be adopted not only here at Pearson, but given the global implications of these issues, that it will be adopted across other United World colleges, 15 around the world, and other international baccalaureate schools around the world. We estimate that there will be 10,000 by 2020. So we hope to have huge impact and increase education and learning about these important issues, not just here at Pearson, but really around the world. Okay, well, many of you may have noticed that there is a framed poster behind me, or beside me. This is a representation of the two original Douglas treaties. And so we are proud to say this frame will be mounted as a permanent display in our dining hall. And I hope these efforts are a good start. So just Deanna, and I also want to acknowledge Benedice. Is Benedice with us? Anyway, Benedice is one of our wonderful on-campus residents and has done a tremendous amount of work in designing this. So thank you so much, Benedice, for being Chief Chips, when you saw this, you liked it. And so we actually have made one for you as well. So we'd like to present you with your own framed version of these treaties, particularly as they have to do with Beecher Bay, with the Douglas Treaty. So we'd like to present this to you.
privileged to let you on council and you're with us.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And we've been already working very closely with chiefs and some of his advisors and members of the community in a reconciliation working group, and we're very optimistic based on how things have gone already in a spirit of openness, transparency, and trust. That this really marks a renewed chapter in relations between Pearson College and Shannon First Nation Feature Bay. So let these two framed posters be a reminder of the, I think, the good work that awaits our communities as we move ahead. Okay, so remember, this is not a one-time event. This is a start or a renewed chapter, if you will, in our community's history. And so we welcome you to our campus anytime. There are many things I think that we can be doing between our communities in terms of access to our facilities, community events for some young people, peer-to-peer exchanges between our youth and your youth. There's so many things that we look forward to working on together. So this really is just a start, and we have a wonderful program ahead. So I guess I will turn things back to Rick Peter as our MC for the day, and of course our speakers. So back over to you, and I look forward to welcoming you after this to join us for lunch in the dining hall for a celebration. Thank you so much.
Check. Great Western invention. White man father say. Can you hear me? Yeah. Do I need the talking stick? I really want to raise my hands to each and every one of you for coming here to the start of, as you heard our speaker get up and say, this is not going to be just the first time, but for this thing to be ongoing and bringing out and touching the communities around you. As we are taught in our culture, we are taught to be open-minded and respectful to all other cultures out there. And what's happening in opening our eyes to see what each different area has gone through. Here we have an awesome portrait of the Douglas Treaty that was signed how many years ago, that was discussed with how many different tribes, but not all the tribes are under the Douglas Treaty. There's several different ones out there, but being able to stand and come forward and recognize this treaty, part of what our brothers and sisters in this area and the surrounding territories, you know, Chana, Songhees, South, brothers from South, Esquimalt, all the different nations coming together, working together. And all of our brothers and sisters that come to this facility, the teachings that they're bringing out and opening up and bringing out new areas to be brought out so that we can all learn about it. Opening our eyes to what's happened here, to what's happened over here, and back here. And realizing the difficulties that we all go through are all very similar. And that if we can stand up and help each other out to the best of our abilities to give everybody else out there a good understanding of what's going on, of their difficulties and their difficulties and their difficulties. We all come together and we say in our language, Nata Ahmad. Nata Ahmad. Nata Ahmad's 12. One mind. One body. All working together, helping each other out. So I'm really honored. I am really honored to stand here as speaker for our sisters and our brothers, for the facility here. And at this time, I want to call up Chief Russell Chips to say a few words, I believe. So,
So welcome everybody to the traditional territories of Beecher Bay, Chiana, the Salmon people. What an honor it is to be in front of you today. We have elders here, Jack Planez, Jackie Planez, Randy Chips, Rita Sawyer, Fairfield, Henry Chips, Isabel Charles. First and foremost, those people have gone through the years and fought for our Douglas Treaty rights and afforded us the opportunity to stand here and speak in front of you. And if it wasn't for them, I think this journey would not exist. And it's very important that they get acknowledged before the land itself. I think that they're the backbone for why they exist. So I just want to thank you guys for being here. We've come here to hang our Douglas Treaty on the wall and claim this territory and boast about how much land we got. That's not the truth to me. The truth is, Desiree talked this morning about scholarships. Scholarships mean education for our children. And that's why we're here. That's why we're trying to reach our hand to Pearson College. They've reached back and we said, let's do something different. Let's not argue. Let's not confuse ourselves in Douglas Treaty rights and land. Let's sit around and figure out what it is we can do for our children. Let's stand up taller than the rest of the people in the world and just say, hey, let's start somewhere and let's get these kids some education. And that's why we're here. And that's and later on you'll get to see me stand up here with the drum group, and that will excite me even more because through that drum group I've been able to pick up a little bit of language. Language is lost for me. I spent years of my education wasting away, and now I'm getting new education with one of our elders here, right? He's teaching us songs and language, and it's just a happy day. Thank you, Deanna. Thank you, Sharon. Thank you, Rick. She does great. The blessing this morning. Who did that? Calvin. Thank you for the blessing. Thank you for starting our day off right. That's most important, to start our day off right. Thank you very much. Thank you for allowing me to stand here. Have a nice day.
And at this time, we're going to call up say Kuna Matata, right? A lot of you know where that comes from. No worries. Take that deep breath. Okay. Right now, as my brother got up, forgot to mention that Alan Plains, who is also here, he is from Sioux Council also. In our language, we say swipe up, man and woman, brother and sister. But when we translate it, not only help meet them some chocolate and Kalala languages, we translate to English. It's easier. We say brothers, our brothers and sisters. We have older brothers and sisters. Like an older brother here, older sister here, an older brother and sister here, an older brother and sister here. They're my elder brother and sister. And we have our younger brothers and sisters here. The easiest way to translate to English. Easiest way, but we lose so much in that translation. As brother, you can understand. And the prayer that you brought out, and then to try to translate that to English, you lose so much in that translation. That's how it is with all the languages. You get too specific in this English language. But right now, I'm going to call up Mr. Neil Ballots.
Yes. Well done.
Sir, if you'd like to come to the case. Yeah, Great Western Partnership here.
Good morning. I'm really excited to see so many members, elders and members of the Future Bay First Nation here. It's really is tremendous. I'm also happy that this occasion might be something in the future to be repeated as a celebration of the treaties, that they are not just relics of colonial dispossession, but have the potential to move ahead reconciliation between Canada and First Nations. Also, I would like to acknowledge that most of what I have learned about treaties as a student of them, I have learned from the elders and ancestors of First Nations, and I thank you all for that. My connection with the treaties began 15 years ago when I became a contractor doing historical research on First Nation claims for breaches of the terms of the treaties. And I continued to do that. And in the last 5 years, I have been devoting my time full-time to obsessing over these agreements in the pursuit of a PhD in law from the University of Victoria. And I'm very happy to say that I defended my dissertation in February, so my student days are finally over. And I certainly would reiterate that being a student at any stage of life is a privilege and a pleasure, and encourage everyone to pursue it all their lives. And I have, and wonderful. Now, my usual thought is 50 minutes, but I have the 3-minute version as well. And that's, I'm going to start with that, which will give you an overview of what my research has found, and then spend a few minutes bringing the situation of the treaties up to date. Now, my talk usually begin with something like this. I would like to acknowledge our presence today on the unceded lands of Future Bay First Nation. That's a little bit different than the previous speaker said, that the treaties effectively extinguish the title of the First Nations to the traditional territory. And my research into the first-person accounts of the First Nations understanding of the treaties has led me to a different conclusion. Long ago, some very spoke about their understanding of the treaties to non-First Nation audiences. Fortunately, at that time, their words fell on deaf ears. And what I am trying to do is to bring these words of those First Nation elders back to the attention of Canada so that we can move forward with a better understanding of what was actually agreed to. So, the typical response is, wait a minute, didn't these same First Nations sign treaties in 1850 explicitly and completely ceding the land to the Crown? The answer is yes, if you accept the brief summary given by James Douglas, who was the representative of the Crown, that's Britain and later Canada, at the treaty meeting. However, the answer is no, if you accept the earliest accounts of First Nations spokespeople who deny the surrender of their land, but do acknowledge an agreement to share their land and its resources with the new Crown. So this disconnect between the official, colonial, and First Nation understandings of historical treaties is common all across Canada. So this is not a unique situation, it is, I think, the usual situation in most treaties. And that they are all undergoing a review and a new understanding. So what do I think, and the First Nations elders think that Douglas actually said through his interpreter to the assembled First Nations at the treaty meetings? What did they say in response? We will never know for sure because no minutes of the meetings were kept. None of the words spoken at the meetings were recorded in writing, and few existing First Nation accounts have only been reduced to writing long after the event. And this lack of what is called contemporaneous at-the-time accounts is almost unique among Canadian treaties. So I faced quite a hurdle in my research because there is so little documentation of what went on at the meetings preserved in the archives. So the question then becomes, which version is more likely? If you accept the accuracy of the written documents, the colonial account is the better choice. But the historical record is clear that Douglas asked the chiefs to make their remarks on blank sheets of paper, and the wording of that text was supplied several months later by Douglas's superiors in London, England. And these forms, which is what I call them, once completed, were not ratified by or even shown to the First Nations at the time. Again, this startling picture is nearly unique among Canadian treaties. So what does this mean? Are these oral terms behind the written ones? Are they lost forever? Are there treaties? Was anything agreed to? Fortunately, based on my research, the answer is do not despair. My extensive analysis and comparison of the colonial and the long neglected First Nation accounts leads me to conclude that agreements were reached, but more in the nature of interim arrangements which provided compensation to First Nations for land already taken and provided for future expansion by the newcomers, provided it did not interfere with the livelihood and way of life of the First Nations. Now, until now, the First Nation accounts have been largely ignored, and the colonial version of events has held sway. But this is no longer the case. The Douglas treaties have a great future, and that they are becoming more and more visible, more and more heard. They have been silenced, but no longer. And examples of that are meetings such as today. Also, I've had the privilege of talking to grade 10, grade 9, grade 8, and grade 7 students in our public schools, and I'm pleased to say that the treaties are actually on the curriculum for all 4 years, so things are changing. Now, I have a beautiful slideshow, which I don't have time to show you today. But the history of these agreements is fascinating, and my dissertation is a mere 365 pages of riveting description of it, all the amazing things that have happened, but I will not attempt to summarize it anymore today. The other thing about the future of the treaties is not only education but negotiation, and that is very active at the moment, and I'd like to close with a recognition of an interim agreement that has been reached between Canada and British Columbia and the treaty group, of which Beecher Bay is a member, as is Sioux Nation, and that there is a connection between this modern agreement and the agreements that were reached over 150 years ago. And Sioux Chief Gordon Plannis eloquently summarizes the connection. Our ancestors committed themselves to protecting our way of life and building an even better future for our people when they made the first treaties with the Crown in the 1850s. We are honoring their accomplishments as we build on the foundation that they laid by signing this agreement in principle today and continuing our work toward a modern treaty with Canada and British Columbia. Thank you.
At this time, just before I call out the drum group, I have a nephew that was here as a student, and he would like to come and share a few words with you. I'll call out my nephew, William. Come up and say a few words.
I got my share of the family voice. I'm not sure if I need to use a talking stick. Can y'all hear me? Ashkahela Siem, Nishelacha, Siemach Nikwilia. Kwamlash on the snap, Schlasenach, Signach, Elamana. Ashkahela Siem, Schwalakwa, Siemach Nikwilia. Good morning. My name is William Morris. I'm year 19. I lived in Japan House. I attended here straight out of high school. I just wanted to share a little bit of my experience. I just wanted to thank elders and relatives from Shano and Sioux for allowing this to happen today. I know we have our differences when it comes to interpretation, and I think it was set a little bit in place when our first speaker spoke, and then the gentleman that just spoke previously. I just wanted to thank him for those words. And our elders tell us, at least my elders have told me, that it was never a land cession treaty, it was a peace treaty, and there's a lot of history that goes along with it, and what has gotten lost along the way is our interpretation of the treaty and how it relates to today. And as was mentioned, it's been more than 7 generations, and when we plan, I sit on the leadership council as well for my village in Sartland, and we plan for the future of our grandchildren and great-grandchildren. And these are some of the things that we have to contend with. I'm really excited for relatives from from Shannon to apply for scholarships here. I didn't have the success that I wanted when I attended here. My relative Lee, she worked here. Elder from the village, when she worked here, I was a student here. And I know about the struggles as a student. Mine was a second language, and my language is English. English is supposed to be as a second language, but it's my first language. And St. Joplin is my native tongue. It's what my grandfather taught. And at that time, when I attended classes here, there was no written material for me to learn my own language. So I had the choice between French or Spanish, and I bombed in both. And I'm really hoping that it gets taken into account for whichever of the relatives chooses to attend classes here. And moving forward, you can take from experiences like mine in not having the success that I planned. I'm still working. I work as a researcher as well. I'm a student up at UVic. I'm a student for University of Saskatchewan. I got a lot going on. But it's situations like this that excite me for our relatives from here. I don't know. In my learnings as a student, reacquiring my own language, Quilnuk is what we describe as our people. Quilnuk means people that came from above, and if you look at it from that point of view, it's like your creator put us here. And it's that Nuk is it's like the beings that were placed there. And our relatives from Shannon, Chief Chips talked about the Shannon is salmon people. Well, Stray in St. Joplin's Coil, anyway, in St. Joplin language, means work. So Shannon refers to the fish. Fish is like the working person, and that salmon never stops, always going forward. And I think I'm hoping at least that for whichever of my relatives or family members from this territory decide to come here, it's a lot of work. And I just wanted to wish the students here all the best in your exams. I know how challenging that can all be as well. And that, I just want to thank you for welcoming me here today. My name is William Morris. William. Comlet.
Now I can hear you. We have the Chandler drum group coming out. They're going to be singing.
Good afternoon. My name is Nadia, third generation Beecher Bay. Me and Ramona are co-founders of this drum group that we're so proud of. It's commitment, giving up some of their leisure time to come to practice and performances. I'm very proud of our young members learning their culture, traditions that was given up due to colonization and residential school. It's one step in the right direction. We hope in the future they'll be learning dances to go with the songs. Some of the songs. As soon as Rick teaches us. Thank you.
All right, they have two different songs that they want to try and sing for you. One of our young men here wants to sing a song that is called Ice Cup. And the young lady is standing beside him. She wants to sing one of the songs that we sing in our La Health games, called Oh Louisa. So right now what we're going to do is we're going to sing the Haichka song for you. Very appropriate. On behalf of the Chanas drum group, thank you for having us all here. And thank you for allowing us to share a few songs with you. And 3, you can count. That's up. That's up. Every song that they want to sing to you. Now remember, this song is sung in our La Health game, bone game, our stick game. And when the kids heard this song, they really enjoyed it. And they really loved singing this song. And also, not only that, the children have an aunt here that they love to sing this song to. And her name just happens to be Louise. So, ladies and gentlemen, okay, ready? Back up. Back up. third song we're going to sing for you is called The Harvesting Song. And this song was made up out in Beecher Bay. It comes from Beecher Bay. And we call it the Harvesting Song. And this song was made up by two individuals, and one of them is sitting here busy recording because he has children in the drum group. Bruce Charles did a big part in helping make the song come together. And as you've heard, I'm just a mentor for this group, teaching them how to sing and drum, and also to have some dance movements to the songs in the future. And it is really an honor for them to sing you this song that we call the Harvesting Song. You guys ready? That's up. So on behalf of the Canada Drum Group, it has been really an honor and a pleasure to get this group together and to teach them the drumming and the singing part, and to be able to see them stand up in front of you and to work past that shyness, and to be able to stand up here in front of you and sing a few songs for you. And it's really an emotional feeling inside. Not everybody can stand up in front of a crowd like this and speak or sing or perform. And with the nurturing and the teachings that we as the elders to be able to share with our future, because you are our future. This is our future. We know they're going to be carrying on the songs and the dances. The more that they learn, and they're going to be passing it on to their children and their grandchildren as they get older, just like you will be in the future, sharing the teachings that you've learned here in this complex. So on behalf of the Chalmers Drum Group, we all say, ladies and gentlemen, I want to call back up Desiree. Please come back up the mobile walking stick.
Maybe I don't know if I can project quite as loud as this time. I'll do my best. Well, we have some thank yous. This brings us to the conclusion of this ceremony, after which we warmly invite you to join us for lunch in the dining hall. And just, I mean, you guys are amazing. What an amazing group, and it's an honor to have some of the younger members of the local community with us. So, true honor. So we have a few thank yous. Well, first of all, I stand corrected. I've already learned a lot today in terms of my interpretation of these treaties. So thank you, Dr. Valens. I get to now call you, having successfully earned your PhD. So we'd like to present you with a small token of our appreciation. Last but not least, of course, Chief Russ Chips, drummer, Chief of Beecher Bay. I think we've already, this is something different. This is something that we hope can go in the band offices. So this is for you, for your community on behalf of Pearson College. Thank you so much for your friendship and your working together. With each other, but also our students and faculty and staff. So again, thank you, drummers, elders, and council members, and the entire Pearson community for being with us today. And come celebrate with us in the dining hall.